The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host tonight. We have a very, very special guest, my very dear friend, Mr. Anthony Aveni, who's an actor and a singer. Talented both.
Mr. Bendich.
How are you?
Thank you for having me here.
You know, Anthony, it's my pleasure. I mean, when we made the first episode of Scriptless, you were in the first episode of Scriptless, and we're still working together. And you're a very talented actor and a very talented singer. I'm so happy you're on the show.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being on the set and also joining you with the new cast of the new Scriptless series.
That's it. It's great. It is wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to ask you basically where you're from. So where are you from?
Well, I'm Italian, Sicilian.
Right.
And
you were born in Sicily?
Yes. Came here very, very young with my family. They didn't even know how to speak English.
Wow.
Right off the boat. And the first place they lived was in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. And for a while, Williamsburg was a very, very bad neighborhood. When they moved there, it was good. But over the course of the years, it got really violent and bad. One day, my father came home. He said, "That's it, we're moving out." Because the owner of the delicatessen downstairs from where we lived got shot and killed. He got robbed at gunpoint.
Oh, my God.
So when my father came home, my mother was crying hysterically. "Oh, my God." My father, "What happened? What happened?" "Oh, the man downstairs got shot and killed. They robbed him." So my father was like, "That's it, we're moving out." And the next thing you know, we were in Staten Island.
Wow, Staten Island.
Yeah.
I mean, I have very little knowledge of Staten Island, except that, we filmed Bound by Debt.
Bound by Debt, yeah,
was filmed in Staten Island.
Yes.
But so what was it like living? When did you move? How old were you?
Well, we only stayed in Staten Island for about 4 years.
Right.
I believe I was there from about 6 years old to about 10 years old. And then we moved to Whitestone, Queens.
But when you were in Staten Island, did you make any relationships that you still have, like friendships? Or
Yeah, I do. I still have a couple of
Interesting.
good friends back there. I have relatives also that still live in Staten Island.
Right. So you moved then you said to Whitestone?
Yeah, Queens, yeah.
Right. And that's where you live now?
Yes, I still live in Queens, yeah.
So when did you first start, you're an artistic person, you're a singer and you're an actor. Which one did you do first?
It started off,
right,
like, I realized that I could sing even before I knew I could speak English.
Wow.
And the funny thing was, I was a little guy with my little cousin. We were 4 days apart. May he rest in peace now, Tony. On the corner of where we lived in Brooklyn, there was a train station with the old-fashioned, where they used to sell the newspapers on top of that wooden, like, it looked like a toy chest made out of wood, and all the newspapers were on there.
Right.
So me and my cousin, we wanted ice cream. So we asked our mother, "Can we have some money? We want gelato, Right. And my mother, "Well, you just had ice cream." So me and my cousin, we got our parents' broomsticks, and we went to the corner by the train station. And we took those broomsticks and we started singing, "I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand." And then people, when they came off the train station, they would see us, two little guys, 5 years old, and they were giving us quarters.
Oh, cool. So how much money did you make?
Well, I don't know, but we had enough money to buy ice cream and still enough change in our pockets.
So that's cool.
So when we went home with the ice cream, our parents said, "Un'è che pigliasti sto gelato? Where'd you get the ice cream? Where'd you get the money?" "Oh, we were singing on the corner, Beatles music."
Right.
"No way." My parents didn't believe it.
Right.
And then we showed them all the coins we had. They're like, "Jesus Christ."
Right.
That's when I first found out that I could sing.
Right.
And over the course of the years, I started singing more and more. And then my friends would compliment me. And then I joined the band when I was about 14 years old.
Wow.
And we were rocking and rolling. And that's how it happened. Then when I reached my 20s, something else happened. I accidentally bumped into a movie set, a Bronx Tale.
Oh, my God.
I was driving my 1962 white Impala convertible. And all of a sudden, roadblock. Man wouldn't let me through. He says, he says, "Are you here for the movie?" And I said, "What movie?" And he says, "The Bronx Tale. Robert De Niro's making a movie, and they're using all the old cars."
Right.
And I says, "Wow, I would love to be in the movie. I own 25 cars.
Right.
Could they use any more cars?" He said, "Call this number." Next thing I know, I have 10 cars in the movie.
Oh, that's great.
I'm making friends on the set. One thing leads to another. I'm hanging out with De Niro in his trailer,
Oh, God.
in his rented apartment with Chaz Palminteri,
Oh, he's great.
Joe Pesci,
Right.
Clem Caserta. You know, it was like one thing was leading to another.
Yeah, I met Clem a couple of times.
Yeah.
He's an interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you meet Joey on the set too?
Joe D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Is that when you first met
Lilo
him?
Brancato, yes, yeah.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, Joey and I,
Yeah.
ironically, we haven't worked together on a movie in about 20 years since The Bronx Tale.
Right.
And all of a sudden, bang, 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 4 movies in a row.
Crazy,
American
right?
Brawler, Tapestry, The Breaking Point,
Right.
which is, the release party of The Breaking Point coming out this Friday.
I know it's at 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah, and I have a nice little scene with Joe.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's a good guy, too.
Yeah, I can't wait till American Brawler comes out.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
So I played.
You have a good part
Yeah,
in
I
there,
played
too.
Mike Douglas in that, which I'm
Nice.
Really, that was
Nice.
nice. Except the interesting part, for my part, I hope you don't mind me stepping on
No.
your show for a second.
No, I
but
love it.
They filmed in Middletown, and they set up the set like the Mike Douglas show.
Yes.
And they made my head black and all this other stuff. But they got me to go there about, my call time was like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night. They didn't shoot my scene until 2 o'clock in the
boy.
morning. And, so you're waiting.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's time to do your
Right.
scene. and
Hurry
it's
up and get here on time, and then wait 6 hours.
It was crazy. But it was interesting. It was fun,
I have a nice part in that also because I play Zach's right-hand man.
Cool.
Zach plays the part of Chuck Wepner.
Right.
And in this movie, I'm a really far out dude. I'm a drug dealer, a drug user, a wild guy.
Right.
I'm supplying Chuck Wepner with all his needs,
That's cool.
And then at the end, of course, everybody knows he got busted.
Right.
Another thing is they used about 7 or 8 of my cars
Really?
in that movie.
Cool.
All the cars you're going to see in that movie belong to me.
Do you know when it's going to be released? Because I'm curious. I want to see that
I'm
movie.
thinking this summer it's going to be coming out. I have to talk to Ken Kushner about that one. He's the director of
But
the
that guy
project.
Jared Page, who plays Muhammad Ali,
Oh, he looks just like him.
and he talks just like him
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And
And
I-
he's a sweetheart of a guy, too.
Yeah, I had to interview both those guys at the same time as
Wow.
Mike Douglas, and they almost go to blows over there. But it was interesting. It was an interesting scene.
Yeah.
So Tapestry, what'd you do on Tapestry?
Oh, Tapestry. Oh, boy.
and that's also another Ken Kushner film, right?
That's, yes. The funny thing about that is Mr. Kushner called me up. He says, Anthony, I need you to show up at this audition. I think you would be great for this role. And I said, Kenny, I'm sick as a dog right now. I don't feel good. It was pouring rain that night. He says, Anthony, this is a role that you're going to be starring opposite of Stephen Baldwin.
Cool.
I says, okay, Kenny, I'm going to get dressed. I says, but you know my acting abilities. Do I really? He goes, yes, but I'm not the only casting agent here. You have to prove yourself to my, associates here.
Right.
I says, okay, no problem. So as I was driving there, I was sick, feverish, sweating. It was raining. About 25 blocks away from the place,
Yes.
I get a flat tire.
Oh my God.
Oh, so there I am. Luckily, I managed to get into like a fire hydrant spot, jacked up the car, changed the tire. I showed up there,
Right.
and I was shivering, freezing. And when I walked into the room, I knew a lot of people that were in there.
Right.
So I says, listen, I would love to shake everyone's hands and greet you all, but I'm feeling fluish. I don't feel good, and I don't want to get nobody sick.
That's so
I'm contaminated. Stay away.
That's so unlike you, because you're the type of guy that hugs everybody.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But I was being considerate. I
Right.
don't want to spread no
Absolutely.
germs. And Kenny calls me up about, 5, 6 days later. He says, congratulations, Aveni. You landed the role with Stephen Baldwin. I was like, yeah, great. And I was sick that day. He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, but still in all, you were sick, but you went into acting mode.
That's good.
He says, you beat out 212 people for that
aw-
role.
awesome.
I was
Congratulations.
like, oh, yeah, baby.
I had a small part in it, but you know who had a good part in that movie? My father.
Yeah.
My father also had a scene with Steve Baldwin, and
Wow.
that was pretty. So you and him have something in common,
Yeah.
except you had a lot of scenes with Steve Baldwin.
I did. Actually, the whole day of filming
Right.
was me and Stephen Baldwin. We did like 5 different scenes together. But one of the funniest thing was, I asked Ken, I said, Ken, did you read my script, my dialogue? A lot of tongue twisters. And he says, Please, Aveni, tell me you studied. I said, yes, I did.
Right.
I says, but is the writer eminent about staying on the script, or are we allowed to, like the way you roll, do some improvisation? He said, Anthony, go word for word by the script. I will announce to everyone that you are also an excellent improvisationalist.
Right.
And we'll see, after we film, we'll see if we could do a little improv. But you got to ask Stephen Baldwin if he's all right with that. So I went up to Steve. I go, Steve, I know you have some tongue twisters there. How do you feel about improvisation? He goes, oh, I love improv. Great. So anyway, we did the first scene. It was a big nightclub scene. It was about 80 people in the place.
Right.
So me and Steve were doing our thing, and all of a sudden, Ken Kushner jumps up. He goes, cut! That was excellent, Aveni!
Yeah.
He didn't say, that was excellent,
Steve,
Baldwin.
right,
He said, that's excellent. I was like so happy about that. And everybody in the place was giving me a standing ovation.
That's awesome.
And then I realized why they were giving me a standing ovation.
Why?
Because there was no seats in the house.
That's a good one.
That's one of my original jokes. I love comedy too.
I know. Believe me, I know, because you're very funny on the set. But even my dad played like interesting scene when his mother dies. You know, because in Tapestry, Steve Baldwin's mother passes away.
Okay.
So.
Played by Tina Louise?
That's right, Tina
Yes.
Louise.
She's
Could
a
you
nice
believe? I
lady.
can't believe. Yeah, I mean, I met her only once at the rap party.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And that's when I met Joey for the first time, Joey D'Onofrio, because he was at that party.
Yeah.
But
I wonder how old Tina Louise is right now.
I think she's in
about 75, maybe 80.
yeah, I think she's between 75 and 80 exactly.
In case you all don't know who Tina Louise was,
Yeah.
she was the beautiful, glamorous ginger
Right.
on Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and she still looked good. You know,
Yeah,
she still looked good.
Great personality on her, you know?
And also Burt
Young.
Burt Young was in there.
He was in Rocky, right?
Right. The first time I met Burt was when I was bartending at the Hollywood Palace, and he came up to. He was at the Staying Alive after premiere party, so I met him.
Staying
there.
Alive?
Yeah, that was filmed at the club that I was bartending in.
It's funny you mentioned Staying Alive because I'm sure you must have heard about the life and death of John Gotti, the movie that they're making.
That's correct. Yeah.
And
Oh,
John
that's right. You were in
Travolta-
it.
Yes, John Travolta is in it.
Right.
And Kevin Connolly from Entourage
Right.
is the director.
Right.
So there I am on set. You know, I was doing Willie kind of like a favor. They needed some cars on the set, so I brought him 5 cars that time. And I'm in the men's room,
Right.
and who walks in?
John Travolta.
I had them all to myself. Out of all the places I had to meet him, it was in the men's room. So anyway, we chatted for a while, and I got a nice selfie picture of us together. He's a sweetheart.
I know. I met him. I worked on Perfect in Hollywood, and in between, we were waiting for one shot, and Mary Lou Henner came on the set, and they were dancing, but there were like guys around, and he was kind of like showing off in front of the guys.
Right.
But it was, and he was also at the Staying Alive after premiere party. I served him, Stallone, and the 2 ladies they were with.
Wow.
4 glasses of champagne. They stiffed me. Didn't give me a tip.
Unbelievable.
But, they came down the step. The Hollywood Palace is a beautiful club. Came down these steps, came right to my area of the bar, served them the 4 glasses of champagne, and they just said thanks, and they just walked away. So, yeah.
You know, it's interesting what you said about stiffing and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like these celebrity types, like, maybe it's all right for them to get a free meal here and there, but they got so much money, they should be paying, they should at least,
Right.
spread
Absolutely.
the wealth a little
The
bit.
guy from Who's the Boss? What's his name? Tony.
Tony Danza?
Tony Danza used to come to the club, $20 tip every drink, and it was VO and water of all things.
Right.
Which who could drink that stuff?
I know Tony
And
very
he used
well.
to keep. He used to keep. You have to keep the ice on the bottom. You just put new ice on top, and $20 a tip. At least it was back in the '80s when he was Who's the Boss.
Yeah, you know who I heard is a very generous tipper also? Mike Tyson.
I only met him once, but he was chasing after. He was like stalking this girl that worked across the street from where I worked in the city. He was kept on bothering this lady who was working in a shoe shop, but he was scared. But that was back in the '80s.
Yeah. You know, he's
mean, the
you know our
90s.
mutual friend Willie DeMayo.
Yes.
And Paul Begay's.
Yes.
They're excellent movie makers. These guys. I admire their ambition. When they start a project,
Right.
they finish it. It goes on into the movies.
Right.
It goes on to DVD. You gotta love that.
Right.
Because a lot of independent filmmakers, they got a project, they make it, and then they don't have no budget to advance it to another level.
Right.
And
Well, you're very fortunate to be working with William DeMayo and
Yeah.
those people, because now, especially with the Gotti movie, I mean, that shot him up even higher than where he was.
Absolutely.
And Back in the Day and all those. Were you in Back in the
I'm
Day?
in Back in the Day also.
What was that? What
Mike
was that like?
Tyson's in it.
What was that like?
It was
working on
great.
that?
You know, those guys are very professional.
Right.
They really have their stuff together.
Right.
And you can't take anything away from them. They put the pen to the paper. Right. Paul Borghese directs. William DeMeo writes. Willie
So
also
I didn't know.
acts.
So William DeMeo is a writer. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's a very talented actor
I
too,
know,
as you see.
Right, but
you know,
but I didn't know he
and
was a
very
writer.
humble, very humble.
Yeah, I saw some of his. I read a little bit of his interview, that one of the interviews, and he seemed like a humble guy.
Yeah.
And he's like living in like, is it upstate New York, or where he lives in?
I think he has a house in PA,
Oh,
but
right.
I think his primary residence is in Brooklyn.
Oh, so he's still in Brooklyn.
Yeah, or maybe his parents still live there, or whatever. But he loves Brooklyn. That's his roots, you know.
So what do you
And
think his future is going to look like?
I think he's got a great future ahead of him.
Right.
You know, he's getting a lot of recognition.
Right.
And tremendous publicity, tremendous. Look, perfect example. In the Back in the Day movie,
Right.
he managed to get Alec Baldwin to be
Right.
the star of his movie.
I couldn't believe. I mean, that's the. And you know what? They still have. I take the number 5 train, which goes. It's an elevated train from 149th Street to Eastchester Road. You still pass by an area that has 2 Back in the Day posters, like, you know, billboards up.
Right.
Every day I see the Back in the Day. And when was that filmed? That was a few
That
years
was
ago.
last year.
Oh, it was last year, but it's still up.
Yeah. It's available all over, you know, the internet, Amazon,
Right.
and I think maybe even Netflix now.
Right.
But what's interesting about that? Not only did he land Alec Baldwin, I think he got what's her name, Shannon Doherty.
Oh, Shannon Doherty.
And the
that was
scene that I was in
Right.
was with Michael Madsen in a
Oh,
social club scene.
And I think, yeah, he's an amazing actor.
Oh,
He's been around a long time.
he is
But
so
had
down to earth,
But he
that
had some
guy.
rough times, right? Didn't he?
I'm not sure about his past,
Right.
but one thing I am sure about, his acting abilities are phenomenal.
He's awesome.
And as a human being, like,
Right.
he's just like us. You
Right.
know, like, he's not one of these guys, you know, some actors, you know,
I know.
they think who they are, like, us newcomers, so to speak, like, we're nothing, you know, like, but, you know, I could understand, like, maybe if you're that big, too many people start harassing you for your autograph and your pictures, maybe at one point, one day you might not feel it and you're just disgusted with it.
Right.
But I always feel like, you know what? Embrace the people who love you. They got you to the point you're at.
And these guys who are now like still
And
big
Michael
stars-
Madison,
Yeah.
oh, Michael Madsen, let me tell you something.
Okay.
We were goofing around on set and everything. I said, come on, let's take a picture. So what does he do behind my back? That's the kind of character he is. Great guy.
So when I was in Hollywood, it was pre-internet, you know? So it was pre-PC, all this stuff.
Right.
So all the films that went out, primarily, the people that used to come to my club, they had the films in the movies. So it's amazing, though, that now that, you know, that you're working with people that still have the films in the movies, because there's just so many films out there. How many films are being made? I mean, and how many of them really make it?
Right.
I mean,
Well, now also, you know what the case is. These new cameras that they're coming out with
Right.
are so advanced and so sharp imaging and stuff.
Right.
And they're very inexpensive.
Right.
So everybody and their mother is now a filmmaker running around filming.
Right.
You know?
But even at MCTV, they have such high quality, high definition television.
Yes.
I mean, cameras, that it's. I mean, even when like Jim is editing Scriptless, I'm looking at these. You know how crystal clear the images are. It's just amazing.
Right.
And but you have some of these other cameras like you had in Breaking Point, which I'm sure are like, to rent them it probably costs $10,000 a day or something like that. Who knows how much it costs, right?
You know, I just recently worked with Ruben Rodas, and we've been making a couple of TV commercials together. We made the cell phone commercial, which you could see on YouTube.
Oh, actually, is that the commercial you were talking about?
Yeah, it's a mobile cell phone.
But what was the commercial? We have actually a commercial that we could share with people.
Oh yeah. Oh, that commercial is the for Pro Energy. It's a drink.
Would you like to share that with the audience?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to show it. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Let's share this with the audience. And it's Pro Energy?
Pro Energy. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Got a couple of good guys in there. Some very talented upcoming actors.
Cool. So let's share it with the audience.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
I told you I want that now. I've been waiting. Come on. Where is he?
The men are back with the
Thank
briefcase.
God. Okay, here he is. Hold on. I'll call you back.
All right, boss. This is what you've been waiting for.
Oh, beautiful.
There you go, boss.
Okay, man. Here it is. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. This is it.
What, boss?
You
What?
did good. You did good. You did good.
Thanks, boss, but what's in it?
In here is the secret to all the championships around the world. This is the answer. Okay? Now see for yourself. This is what I've been waiting for.
Pro Energy?
Pro Energy.
Pro Energy, healthy energy drink.
Okay?
Wow.
We're gonna make millions with this stuff.
And it's legal.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. You understand that? This is what I've been talking about. This is the stuff.
Take it off.
And it comes in 2 flavors.
That's correct.
All right.
And it's legal.
Let's take a
That's
drink.
right.
Wow.
Now try this stuff.
Try
And then you let me know what you think. Drink up, fellas.
Okay, boss.
Drink up. It's delicious too.
Pro Energy, when you mean business.
That was really cool. So tell me a little bit about Pro Energy. What the experience?
That was Rob Hawke decided to work on this production with famous Brandon Jacobs, football player, and another basketball player. I can't remember his name right now, but it was funny. He calls. He goes, "Hey, can you get together a couple of mob-looking guys?"
Can
Of
you
course.
get together? That's all we know.
Hey.
That's it. That's funny.
So we did that, and there was also another one that was called "The Mob Guys Deliver."
Right.
There's also a Pro Energy commercial titled "Goodfellas,"
Okay.
and that's pretty funny too. We have a big bong in that one.
Right.
But getting back to your series of Scriptless,
Right.
I was one of the original 9
You were there.
cast
You were
members.
one of the first people.
Yeah, yeah. There was, I believe, 9 of us to
Yeah,
start off
that's
with,
it.
and you were happy. We were going
Oh, it was
going
great.
along smoothly, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. In the
At one point, you got me killed off, and
Right.
and that's how I came back as
Well,
my
what happened
twin
was
brother.
we killed you off,
Yeah.
but in a very good. I mean, I thought that episode it was called the sit down,
Yeah.
and
That was right after I was with Greg Kritikos
Right.
doing the scene.
right, and I had actually been in a sit down, so that's a lot. The whole series initially was supposed to be about vaguely about some of the experiences that I had, and after I saw your performance. After we killed you, I had to bring you back. I mean, after the sit down, especially, and also you had like a scene with Noah, who plays Sam, and the two of you are in each other's face.
Yeah.
You were such a force to be reckoned with. I said, how the hell am I going to bring this guy back after I killed him? So what we did was we created the character Vic, who was Vinny. Initially your character was Vinny.
Yeah, I was with the beard,
Right.
and I was the wild one.
But now his brother Vic was the smart, cool-headed twin brother.
Yeah, the
who
more
was
conservative one.
Seeking revenge.
Yes.
And we brought you back from the dead.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. That was a fun.
That was great, great.
It was great.
Yeah, that's why when you invited me to come back and do Scriptless again,
Yeah.
and I looked at my calendar and I realized, oh, I'm not doing anything those days.
And usually, I mean, we shoot once a month, so it's
Yeah.
and it's usually pretty easy on a Sunday. A lot of times,
It's
things
always
are-
a pleasure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always a pleasure.
And you get to shoot with my dad.
And I love filming with your dad, for which, may he live another 50 years.
Right, that would be
He's
great.
102 now, right?
102 years old, and he's doing well. He's actually, he was sitting in this seat last Wednesday,
Great.
and we were doing the show.
Great,
And,
great.
and it's amazing. Like he's slowing down a bit, but once he sits down here or he's on the set,
Comes back to life.
it's and it does that for all of us,
I
right?
know. And that's why, I don't know if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I had mentioned to you, my father's about to be 81 years old.
Right.
Recently, I put him in a couple of movies. He did great in the
I'm sure
movie
he
I
did.
just worked on, Mi Familia.
Wow.
And he had to
I was
act like
supposed
a
to be in
crazy
that.
man.
I couldn't make the shoot.
Oh.
And I worked many times with Joe.
Yeah, Joseph Manera. He's a nice guy, good.
But he had your
He's
dad in it?
ambitious. Yeah, we put my dad in the scene.
How'd he do?
He was great.
What did he play? A mobster?
He played an old school mobster in a wheelchair.
Oh, cool.
And he had to deliver some dialogues to one of the other guys because they were trying to get some guns. And my father says, whatever you do, don't get him any guns. He'll kill everybody. Don't get him no guns.
I see where you get your energy from your dad.
I would love for my father and your father.
Well, we're
to
already
be in a
talking about it.
scene. Yeah.
I know. I know. It sounds like this is the first time we're talking about it, but this is the second time we're talking about it.
I think it
really
might be
want it to
pretty
happen.
good.
It would be good because
We'll have the two older gentlemen talking and reminiscing about the old school gangsters.
yeah, but I think that my father would represent even an older generation than your father. So maybe they could talk about
Yeah,
layers.
because your father's 20 years older than my father.
Can you imagine? It's crazy. It's nuts.
102. Oh,
Yeah.
I loved working with your dad.
Yeah, and he's going to continue working. I'm looking forward. We're going to shoot again in May.
Okay.
So maybe we can make it happen in May. That might be interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And this is being shot in April, which is cool. So, what projects are you working on now?
Right now, I'm working on Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
It's the Ralph Freedman story.
Right.
This is about an undercover detective just before Serpico.
Right.
You know how Serpico was like in the mid-'70s?
Right.
Ralph Freedman was in the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
And getting back to Noah Forrest,
Oh, that's where you saw him.
I get to the set, because, I have a lot of cars.
Right.
And they casted me as being one of the actors, and they also wanted me to bring them 4 cars.
Right.
And one of the cars was the main character car for Ralph Freedman, who's played by Tim, Tim, I can't remember his last name.
Timmy.
Yeah. Sweetheart of a guy, excellent actor too.
Yeah.
So I said, let me go down to the holding area. Let me see if I could see any of my friends, because after all these years of acting, every time I'm on a set, I see at least 1, 2 people I know.
Right.
So sure enough, I go into the holding area. First person I laid eyes on was my co-star Noah Forrest.
And I'll tell you, the scene that you had with him in the at the
Which
Duck Inn,
episode was that?
That was the first episode.
Okay, because I know me and Noah had quite a few scenes together.
The thing was, we only had 1 camera that day.
Oh, okay.
And so we had to have, in order for the scene to work, you had to have both people in it. That's why we only have your son. You only had profiles of you two.
Yeah.
And you were just going back and forth about, he's back in town, and you want the money that he owes you.
Yes.
And I can't wait. I was actually looking at that scene because I have the whole episode that I was watching. I was thinking, God, that was a great scene. That was a
Well,
really
maybe if
good
I did good here today and you invite me back for another show, you could show a clip of that, one of your favorite moments.
Well, unfortunately, we won't be able to do it in the next one because you are coming back.
Okay.
But it'll probably be the one after that.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, we don't have that. I have to actually cut that clip, and I don't have that.
Right.
I was looking for it. I didn't have it. I thought I had it as a teaser, but I couldn't find it. But sometimes you gotta, sometimes good things come to an end.
Yeah, and a lot of the actors you have on the Scriptless series are advancing to higher levels.
I know.
Fast.
But
Very talented people.
But there's only one thing left that I have to say. That's a wrap. Good night, folks.
Good night.